Hi everyone, today I will provide you with a recap of The Watchers, plus my analysis of what my wife pointed out to me as a plot hole. Let us begin. The story unfolds with our protagonist, Mina, telling us about a forest in West Ireland that does not appear on any map. It is a sinister forest that traps people who venture too far from civilization. This man, who seeks help for his wife, has been running for some time. Despite being in a panic, he makes sense of this marker, looks at his wristwatch, and keeps running in the opposite direction. To his horror, he finds himself in the same place where he began, and that 7 hours have passed. He now knows that there is something wrong with this forest, and suspects that an evil force is toying with him. A flock of birds passes over his head, giving him the idea to climb one of the trees for a better view. He climbs about 30 to 40 feet, but makes a terrible blunder, grasping a weak branch which snaps on his weight. As he struggles, he sees a dark figure and hears a chittering sound. He mutters to himself that this cannot be possible, as the creature gets closer and drags him under a mount. Somewhere in Ireland, Mina receives a task from her employer to deliver a golden conure to a zoo in Belfast. She takes the bird home and makes the journey to the zoo the following day. In her mind, it is supposed to be just a day of travel, nothing more. What she does not know is that there is horror lurking around her, one that will drastically change her life. After gassing up, her GPS tells her she still has around 106 kilometers to go. As she enters the forest, her car and electronic devices break down. She steps out to survey the place and sees a sign. Thinking someone lives close by, she takes her stuff and bird to get help. Mina has not been walking that far, yet we see from the bird's perspective that the car begins to disappear. The eeriness of the surroundings makes her hesitate. Darkness begins to surround Mina, prompting her to stop and decide to just wait in the car, but the car is gone. Frantic, she runs to look for it, but she gets lost. A flock of birds flies over her head, and the ground rumbles. Mina hears screeches from afar and sees a woman running. She gives chase, and the woman tells her to get in the bunker quickly. The elderly woman, who calls herself Madeline, tells Mina that this place is the coop. The girl is Kira, and the boy is Daniel. All of them, like Mina, are lost in this forest and are fortunate enough to have found the coop. They tell Mina to stand and face a huge two-way mirror, where creatures called the Watchers will arrive and watch them from the other side. Sensing Mina's confusion and fear, Madeline assures her that everything would be fine, that the Watchers could not get inside the bunker. All the Watchers want is to observe them. Kira adds that these forest beings come every night, just after sunset, and watch the humans until sunrise. In the morning, Mina decides to leave against the advice of the other three, believing that they are out of their minds. She keeps walking and hears someone call out her name. Looking around, she sees a human-like figure deep in the woods. Mina runs away and finds a clearing. It is a sight to behold, and she is overwhelmed by the magnitude of this forest. Madeline catches up with her and explains that many have tried getting out of this forsaken land before, and all failed. Madeline adds that the forest can cause hallucinations, which explains what Mina just saw earlier. Mina learns about the landmarks positioned across the forest in a nearly perfect circle, and that a man called the Professor put them up. Each landmark is about a half-day's journey from the coop. Getting past any landmark means you do not have enough time to go back to the coop for safety. The next morning, Madeline tells everyone that they have 10 hours and 2 minutes of sunlight. Since Mina is new to all this, she joins Kira for the day. Kira shows Mina a burrow, supposedly one of many in the forest that connects underground, like a sophisticated tunnel system. The Watchers come out of these burrows in the dark and return before sunrise. Mina learns that Kira has been in the forest for nearly 5 months, and that Kira's husband John left 6 days ago but has not come back yet. Despite the odds, Kira is hopeful that John is alive. Madeline instructs Mina on the rules of the Watchers. The first one is not to turn her back to the mirror. Rule number 2 is to not open the door after dark. Third, do not go near the burrows, and lastly, always stay in the light. The next day, Daniel explains that John used to be the group's hunter, but he took this role after John left and disappeared. All of them must work together to survive. Daniel tells Mina that Madeline, who used to work in a university, has also been in the coop longer than all of them, making her an authority about the Watchers. Mina, the skeptic that she is still looking for logical answers that will explain what is happening to all of them. She questions Daniel's belief in the reality of these Watchers. It does not make sense that Daniel has been in this forest for 8 months and has not seen even one Watcher. Daniel argues that no one sees a Watcher and survives. In her quest for the truth, Mina goes to a Watcher's burrow against Daniel's wishes, hoping to see the Watchers, even if it means breaking the rules. Her strength comes not from her courage, but from her lack of belief that the Watchers exist. Inside, she finds an old handheld camera, a bicycle, an old newspaper, a stuffed toy, and many other things owned by people who have been there before them. She hears a soft growl and sees a hand with 6 fingers trying to reach out. The fingers burn as they get hit by sunlight. Daniel and Mina take these things with them to the coop. When Madeline asks where these came from, Mina lies and says they found these items just beneath a rock. But Madeline is no fool. She knows that Mina saw something that day. Inside, Daniel tells the group that electronics break down outside the coop, but they work fine inside. It is possible that the professor, whoever he is, created a power source that must be underneath them. Daniel activates the handheld camera, and they are ecstatic about the idea they now possess a surveillance device, allowing them to finally see the Watchers outside. That night, the Watchers do not come. Instead, John, Kira's boyfriend, comes back and wants to get in. Madeline warns Kira that it is not John. To verify John's identity, Kira asks him questions that he should know the answers to. John fails, but shows his face to the camera before something drags him. A Watcher stares at the camera and destroys it. What they did earlier angered the Watchers, who are now banging on the mirror. Just as the group thinks the Watchers will breach the mirror, the banging stops. The next day, they return all the things they took to the burrow. It is now winter in the present day. Mina sees Daniel and Madeline arguing over Daniel's inability to hunt food. She goes back to the coop, and while doodling the forest map on the ground, Mina notices that the door is open and realizes that Kira left. She finds Kira on top of a burrow. Kira has come to terms that her husband is gone and she wants to be with him. They hear Daniel scream and run to his location, shocked to find that Daniel tied Madeline and wants to take over the group. As the darkness begins to envelop the forest, Daniel runs back to the coop and Kira comes after him. Mina unties Madeline and they both rush to the coop before the night engulfs the sunlight. Although they make it in time, Daniel refuses to open the door for them. They are too late. Both Mina and Madeline can only wish to survive the night. They hide under a tree that has rotting roots, and this gives them hope that the stench masks their scent, preventing the Watchers from smelling them. The Watchers arrive. For the first time, they see what a Watcher looks like. A tall, slender, human-like creature. It shrieks, and more of them converge at the same spot, watching Daniel and Kira through the mirror. When the Watchers realize Mina and Madeline are not in the coop, they disperse to search for them. Once all the Watchers are gone, Madeline convinces Daniel to open the door and succeeds. As they all face the mirror, Madeline reveals that she came here on her own, despite knowing what darkness the forest holds. She also said that she has seen one Watcher in the past. This Watcher looked like her, but it was not a perfect replica. Madeline knows that the Watchers are an ancient species who go by many names like changelings, fairies, and winged people. She knows too much, and this begs the question, how did she know all these things? She even adds that the Watchers observe humans so they, the Watchers, can copy the humans. It is why the Watchers do not let them leave. The Watchers, now mimicking their words and voices, bang on the door and the roof, desperate to get in because the group broke the rules. As they move furniture around, they find an entrance to an underground bunker, which serves as a bedroom, storage, and study room. Mina sees a computer and discovers the video logs of Professor Rory Kilmartin. They watch several of these video logs and learn that the professor built the coop to be able to study the Watchers at the expense of the builder's blood. The professor also reveals that the Watchers were copying him, his face, and his fingers, and that they are fast learners. The professor managed to catch one and revealed that he wanted to access this power to duplicate oneself and become immortal. In the last video log, the professor says that he will delete himself and the Watcher he caught. He also advised anyone watching this video to leave the coop and find his boat by following the birds, close to marker number 134. He also says to destroy his work at the university where he worked, claiming that it is better to leave some things in the world undisturbed. He leaves the camera filming and proceeds to shoot the creature and himself upstairs. My wife pointed out that this is a plot hole. If the camera kept on recording, who saved the file on the computer when the professor already died? I will tackle this later after the recap. Now that they know how to escape this enchanted forest, they plan to leave the following day. They set out in the morning and set Darwin, the bird, free, expecting it to lead them to the lake. They follow Darwin until they reach a platform. Madeline explains that this must be the place where the ancient humans imprisoned the Watchers. She gives a brief history about the fairies and how their relationship with humans soured over time. The fairies and the humans warred against each other, and the humans won. The fairies were subsequently banished underground, and the platform they are looking at right now is the seal of their tomb. The fairies clawed toward the surface and lost their wings and some of their magic. They were once magnificent creatures, now reduced to a monstrosity. As darkness comes upon them, the Watchers come out of their burrows and give chase. Just as they think their escape is a lost cause, they reach the edge of the forest. They see the boat, but John, Kira's husband, calls out for help. Daniel attempts to help John, not realizing that it is not John, but a changeling. The Watcher kills Daniel, and the three women leave, while the rest of the Watchers in human form look on. Once back to civilization, they take a bus and go home. The following day, Mina goes to the university to execute Professor Kilmartin's instructions. She learns from the professor's recordings that the men and fairies lived together in the past. The fairies lived among humans as friends, guardians, and even mates, giving birth to half men and half fairies. The mixed breeds specialize in physical transformation and are capable of replicating dead people. After the war, nobody knows what happened to the halflings. Mina comes across photos that change everything she thought she knew about Madeline. She visits Kira and explains that Professor Kilmartin was married to Madeline. The problem is this: Madeline died even before the professor went to the forest. As it turns out, the Madeline they know is a Watcher. The professor was experimenting on the Watchers so he could bring his dead wife back. But this experiment backfired. A car arrives and out comes Kira. Mina realizes that the Kira she is talking to right now is actually the Watcher Madeline. The Watcher reveals that it plans to become either Kira or Mina, to live once again with humans. As Mina warns Kira, the Watcher takes John's form and attacks both of them. The Watcher then takes the form of Daniel and tells Mina that it was observing all of them in the coop, biding its time until it perfects its transformation. The Watcher tells Mina that its name is Anriachtan, or the Strange One. This Watcher is a daywalker, one that the other fairies called a deformity. It can walk under the sun. Because of its being different, the other Watchers made it suffer. The professor's presence in the coop gave it hope, and it believed that the professor was its way out of the forest. It is this Watcher that the professor captured, the red-haired child. Its dreams were crushed when the professor tried to kill it. The Strange One takes the form of Mina, proving how versatile it is. As it is about to kill Mina, Mina tells it that it is a halfling, which is half human and half fairy. That is why it can walk under the sunlight when the others can't. It is also why it could leave the forest, and the rest are stuck there. Mina convinces the Daywalker of the possibility of other halflings out in the world, that it can find them and live amongst them, that it does not have to be alone. The Daywalker, in its state of struggle, grows a pair of wings and flies away. It now understands what it means to be human. The next scene reveals Mina speaking to her sister Lucy, who she refused to see in the last 15 years since their mother died from the accident. Mina believes that the Daywalker still follows her around, changing forms. Sometimes, she takes the form of a red-haired girl. Lucy comforts her, and as Darwin perches by the window, we see a red-haired girl looking up at their apartment. Now, let us discuss the plot hole. The professor shot the Watcher and himself. So, who turned the camera off and saved the recording in the proper folder? My take is that it is Madeline, the Watcher, Daywalker, or the red-haired girl that the professor mentioned. This Watcher that the professor had in his bunker did not die. It became Madeline. Since this Watcher spent a lot of time with the professor, it is possible that she also learned not only how to speak and look human, but also how to operate human technology. The professor said that this Watcher is curious. Curiosity, as we know, is the beginning of knowledge. On day 300, the professor and the Daywalker were supposed to leave the forest and go to the city. However, the professor changed his mind and decided to kill the Watcher. Although the Watcher is smart, it does not know the way out of the forest. So, there you have it. It is the Daywalker, aka Madeline, who saved the recording on the computer. If you have a different explanation, please let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you like this content so we'll make more. Thank you for watching.